How's it going, everyone? Looks like we've had a relatively successful weekend for Helldivers 2, comparatively speaking to the last two weekends. I would say that this weekend has been a W, but we'll see how Sunday plays out, the rest of today plays out, and we have a lot of updates coming from Arrowhead CEO. I did notice a couple people make notes of some things in comment section. A few people seem to still have problems. For the most part, it seems like most people can get into games no problem. It seems like there were some issues with people unable to join their friends' games. I did see one issue come up of somebody saying that their super credits got revoked. Whether that be super credits that you earned in-game, or God forbid you bought super credits and they got revoked from you, or they just disappeared, guys, open up a support ticket for that, and Arrowhead should be able to help you pretty quickly. They're working through support tickets on that, and yeah, make sure you get that resolved ASAP, because if you did end up spending credits, that would be quite unfortunate if you just lost them. But nonetheless, again, Arrowhead CEO spoke a lot on social media. Give him a lot of credit, again, for being as open as he is on social media, answering a lot of questions, and a lot of the times with the questions he answers, you're gonna get some pretty insightful stuff. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. Right off the top, he did note we expect the Helldivers 2 servers to hit the 800,000 concurrent user max capacity in 3 to 4 hours. There might be light queues to get in at peak. Also, how crazy is this message from a studio of around 100 developers? That's 800,000 concurrent users. I had thought they upped the server capacity to 700,000. I don't know if they also quietly upped it to 800,000, but that's kind of insane that we're getting to 800,000 concurrent players. Now, as I record this video on Steam, the game is nowhere near 800,000, obviously, on just Steam, but it's shared from Steam as well as PlayStation 5 to get to that 800,000 number. But as I'm recording this video, 404,000 concurrent players are online right now. I had thought that the game would have peaked Saturday morning, but Saturday morning, it was actually relatively light as far as the player base goes. This is a game that's peaking later in the day. So 400,000 is quite a healthy number for that game. And on that tweet, somebody did respond. My brother spent $10 on the credits and now they are mysteriously gone. I sent out a support ticket already and no response. There will be a response. Our customer support team is working through tickets as fast as they can. So people are having this issue, and I saw it in my comment section as well, where people's super credits are getting revoked or they're disappearing or whatnot. Yeah, make sure if you do have that issue, open up a support ticket and you should be able to get that remedied as soon as possible. As far as daily quests not going live for the last few days, it was noted we are looking at it after the weekend. Something broke when we did the concurrent user update. These things do in fact happen, given that when you do so many updates and you're doing updates fairly quickly one after the other, things can get lost. And it's a lot of updates that are rolling out, so some things do get broken. But for the moment being, daily quests are broken, but after this weekend, they will continue to look at that. A lot of discussion on some customization options as far as making your character look a little bit different. It was asked, any chance on seeing color customization for helmets, armors, and capes in the future, just so armors and stuff match? And it was just noted being discussed internally. If it's being discussed internally, I would imagine that it will be implemented at some point. It's just, with stuff like this, with stuff like custom loadouts, which, by the way, that might be in the works as well. Custom loadouts for stratagems. If you don't know stratagems, you always have to, you know, pick and choose which ones, but having custom loadouts that you can just easily pick and roll on into different missions with that, different objectives, usually utilizing different stratagems would be ideal, and having various loadouts would be helpful as far as just accessibility goes. That will hopefully be implemented in the future. And I've seen a lot of people request for color customization for the various helmets, armors, and capes. Hopefully that'll be implemented. That is being discussed within Arrowhead right now. Another note, as far as a fix they're working on, somebody asked, hey boss, I don't know if this bug has caught y'all's attention. Sometimes you can't recall a teammate after they die, you just keep spamming reinforcement, but no revives get deducted and they don't come back. Haven't ran into this one myself, but they did note we've seen it and I believe we have a fix. So that should be implemented in the very near future. And then one more note to make, aside the titanic efforts in stabilizing servers and concurrent users, what are you looking forward to most in the near future? What discussions have been ping-ponging for the staff? Which I found interesting. His response was, I'm most looking forward to the treats that the game masters will bring out. And yes, I know that the bulk of the discussion and the majority of the discussion for the last few weeks have been getting Helldivers 2 to a stable state in terms of people actually being able to play the game. Now that it seems like we're at the home stretch of getting everything remedied, fingers crossed we're gonna hit 800k concurrent, but even if there are slight queue times, as long as people aren't waiting damn near movie length in times, which yes, somebody did say that was the case for them, we can actually look forward to what are big aspects of the game. And one thing that people may have forgotten about is that the fact of Game Masters is one of the coolest elements of this game. I'm not a big D&D guy, but that's what it was compared to in terms of having a Game Master, in the sense of there will be somebody from Arrowhead overseeing various games and almost kind of messing with games or deploying in various things and affecting the game state, which it'll be interesting exactly what they come up with and how they ultimately do affect various games that are running. I think the Game Master idea is pretty cool, and when I initially heard about it, I was like, okay, that sounds pretty interesting, and ultimately that's something that they can implement in a wide variety of different ways. But it looks like they're also very excited to see how that rolls out. A couple of other notes just as far as what Arrowhead's been doing behind the scenes, and much has been made about Arrowhead being a smaller studio. Yes, Arrowhead is around 100 employees, about 100 developers and workers within Arrowhead. However, 100 people for a development studio in today's gaming age, that is very, very small. You look at some of the bigger studios that are around creating big budget titles, especially with a game that has had the load that Helldivers 2 has had. 100 people is really nothing. It's not a gigantic team whatsoever. Somebody else, I just appreciate your candor and just chill atmosphere in regards to what y'all do. I don't think I'll be able to understand logistics behind the scenes, but keep fighting the good fight. That's something that I definitely can relate to as well. I get it. Some of us get upset. I don't really know the ins and outs of game development, server stability, engineering, network stability, all this verbiage that's way above my pay grade. And I've had some people, some of my close personal friends, educate me on what Arrowhead's actually going through, why it's not just as simple of a fix as snap your finger, let's have PlayStation send us more engineers, and suddenly everything's gonna be fixed overnight. It's not quite that simple. There's a lot that goes into it, and as I've been educated over the last week and a half or so, I've kind of seen that Arrowhead has gone through quite the ordeal, and it was noted. I mean, it's both complicated and easy. Easiest is to think of each user as being served and the ability for each of our servers to serve a number of users, but when the users get real high, each server needs a manager, and then managers need managers. But adding more layers of managers constitute a rewrite, so what we're doing is to make each server able to serve more users and each manager can manage more servers. And for engineers, this explanation is BS, but helps for those who are not engineers. And yes, I am not engineers. It was also noted it's actually just optimizations at this point. We have some great support from top Sony backend engineers. Also, the rest of the team is working on some really cool stuff. So while they are focused on working on the servers and making sure that's stable, I'm sure in the background there's a lot of people that aren't going to be experts on server stability and everything like that and answering support tickets. They're going to be working on things like getting a new and updated roadmap. Remember, the old roadmap has been completely scrapped and they're working on a new one because the game has just completely exploded. And now the ceiling is much higher, I think that's safe to say, than before, when we didn't know what the demand level of this game is going to be. But now we know that there's going to be a core audience for this game, a significant core audience for this game, where it's going to be worthwhile for them to invest a lot, and they have more resources to work with it. And I'm sure Sony will be supporting Arrowhead even more if they do need that as well. And I do also want to note, somebody did ask how many overall sales have you had. Cheeky response with a 1 billion gif. I do think we're gonna get official sales numbers at some point. Like, if this game, let's say, cracks 5 million, 7 million copies sold, they're gonna publicize that. Look at what Palworld's been doing as they continually, after they hit a milestone, they'll say, hey, X amount of units have been sold. I think it would be best if they get the game to a stable state and then they start promoting how many games have been sold. Like, it wouldn't look good if they said, oh, the game sold 5 million copies, celebrating 5 million copies sold, and the servers aren't that great. It's not the time to be celebrating X amount of copies sold. I'm sure at some point we'll get those numbers, and if they don't share it, I'm sure Sony will. Somebody will share those numbers, and I'm sure we'll get more insight. I wouldn't be surprised if this game cracks 5 million copies pretty quickly. I don't think it's quite there yet. It might be a 5 million copies sold. Obviously, I know nothing about concurrent users and expectation levels for these games because this game has blown up way farther than I had expected. And I was expecting there was a good chance that the game was going to pop off, but not to this extent. But good work to Arrowhead. And again, they're a smaller studio, so the fact that, you know, just a couple weeks after release, they've been able to get it at a pretty good state seems like a gigantic W for me. Hopefully, we'll get a new patch here soon. Probably not later today, but maybe later today with some of those bug bug fixes, and they obviously know a couple issues and they're working on those, but hopefully we get the roadmap for the content updates, because now as we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel as far as server issues and system stability and all this stuff, content rollouts is what's really gonna get people excited. And I wouldn't expect a major content rollout for a while, but we're gonna have different events going on. It is a live service game at the end of the day, so you know it'll be continually updated. But that'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.